Welcome into the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I am Nic Rohloff. The Heat blew yet another game last night against the Charlotte Hornets. I am going to recap everything that's happened over the last couple of days with the game on Saturday against the Bulls, game against the Hornets, and what's next for the Heat. Because if you are like me and want the season to end and want to look towards the NBA draft, the Heat do have a good thing going. I'll explain what in just a bit. But are you with me? Be honest. Do you want the season to end for the Miami Heat? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's been a tumultuous season from the very, very jump, and we are just 20 games away. Thank goodness. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. All right, I do want the season to end. Listen, this has been a season from hell, if you have said. Got off to a rough start. You basically have stayed healthy for the most part with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo, which is something that we've been asking for them to do for a while. Bam has stayed healthy, but Tyler Hero has not been able to. But then the Jimmy Butler stuff that took precedent in December through January to the trade deadline in early February. We thought that everything was going to get better once Jimmy was traded, that this team would be more joyful. That's a word that's been used all year long, right? They would be able to have that kind of weight lifted off of their shoulder, and they'd be able to play a more cohesive brand of basketball, adding Davion Mitchell and Andrew Wiggins into the mix. But since the trade deadline, it has seemingly got worse. The team who has the second most blown leads in the NBA, only trailing the Utah Jazz, has somehow continued to blow leads, no matter who's on the court, no matter who's not on the court. It's been just an unmitigated disaster for Miami at this point. They were up another double-digit lead in the second half against the Chicago Bulls on Saturday. You blew that game. You were up 17 at one point in the second half last night against the Charlotte Hornets, team picking top 3 in the draft. You blow that game at home. Whenever this team has a lead, I think it is mental. I think I no longer can sit here and say it is a talent issue, because when you were blowing leads to the Hornets, you were blowing leads to the Chicago Bulls, that is not a talent gap issue. That is, you are mentally soft, you are mentally weak, you do not know how to close games. I thought I could blame a lot of this on Erik Spoelstra, and he deserves a lot of the blame for his rotations late in these games and overall throughout the ball games. But at what point is it just the IQ and the lack of toughness that is instilled to this Heat team? I don't want to put a lot of blame on Tyler Hero, but if you go back to that game on Saturday against the Chicago Bulls, he had some questionable shot choices. Ever since Tyler Hero was named to the All-Star team, an All-Star game this year, which was deserved, he deserved it. The first 40 games of the season, he was lights out, efficient, playing at an All-Star level. But since that announcement, he has not been good. And he had that little pocket of games where he was averaging 40 and then had 36 points and 38 points in that little 4-game stretch of before the All-Star break and the first 2 or 3 games after. Yeah, but his efficiency has declined. His IQ has fallen off of a cliff. Tyler Hero is proving to be someone, in my opinion, that the Heat have to seriously consider if he is a part of their long-term plans. I sent this tweet out. I've already gotten some hate on it this morning. I'm doing a lot of free agency cover on the Dolphins, but we had a little break to talk about the Heat. I put out a tweet. I think I would seriously consider trading Tyler Hero in the offseason. Why do I say that? Tyler Hero's trade value will never be as high as it is right now. Yeah, he's had a bad second half of the season, but he is only 25 years old. He is a first-time All-Star. That means something in the NBA. Whether you are trading Tyler Hero for a different type of all-star caliber player that fits your team better, a la a Trae Young, a la a Devin Booker if he became available, someone that is on Bam Adebayo's timeline but fits better and might be a better overall player than Tyler Hero. I think that has to be seriously considered this offseason. Or if you are someone who even just wants to move off and do a complete reset, could you trade Tyler Hero to a team like the Brooklyn Nets, to a team that is looking to add a secondary ball handler, a scorer into their backcourt that has draft capital, or a team that thinks Hero might take them to another step as their third scorer? Could you secure maybe 1 or 2 first-round picks for Tyler Hero? Definitely would get 1. Could you get 2 first-round picks for Hero? I think that's something possible. That's something I would consider in the offseason, because this current build is going nowhere. You either need to lock in luck into a top lottery pick in the top 2 or 3 of the NBA draft to pair with Hero and Bam, or you need to seriously overhaul your roster. Adebayo is the guy that you build around. He's a two-way demon who is starting to catch his stride offensively, averaging more than 22 a game over the past 3 or 4 weeks, playing at an elite level. Keep him and Khalil Ware in that front court. Let them build together. But the other pieces of this roster are very much up for trade, in my opinion, whether it's trading away to get assets and do a full reset, or if you're trying to just overhaul, get a different type of star in roster around Bam and Ware. Something I'm seriously considering. All right, we're going to get to the draft here in just a second, but we are sponsored by PrizePicks, the #1 daily fantasy sports platform on North America. I play it every single day, and I hope you join me. PrizePicks is the best place to get in on the real money sports action with over 10 million users. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. They also put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Take advantage of their promotions, their flash deals. Taco Tuesday is one. Select player projections are discounted up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. I have an entry for tonight's action in professional basketball. More than Trey Murphy, 20.5 points, and more than Cam Thomas, 2.5 rebounds. Simple two-player action here to win 3 times my money. You can customize the way you play and win up to 1,000 times your cash on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. One more time. Download the app today. Use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. I will be filming this video on March 11th, 2025. Well, after the couple of losses to the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets, the Heat now sit in the 9 seed. Yeah, they're only a half game up ahead of the 10-seeded Chicago Bulls, by the way. And if you watched a video we put out last week on the channel, I look at the bubble standings when the Heat were the 7th seed. This was prior to the 4-game losing streak they are on, of course. But Miami had a 5.5-game lead on the Chicago Bulls for the 10 seed and a 1.5-game lead on the 8 seed and 9 seed for the Hawks and Magic. Well, they have been bypassed by Orlando and Atlanta, and they only sit a half a game ahead of Chicago right now. They also only have a 4.5-game lead for the 11th seed. So there is still a chance if the Heat really struggle in the final 20 games of the season where they miss the bubble entirely, which I did not, or I said bubble, play-in entirely. My goodness. I don't know how it has come to this, but that is where we stand. But if you're someone like me who has turned their attention to the NBA draft, it should make you very, very happy, which I am because I'm smiling. This Heat team is going nowhere. I know that, so I'm looking towards the future. And the Heat currently have the 11th overall pick. Remember, they keep their first-round selection if it is in the lottery. If it is inside the top 14, which means they are not playing a playoff series this year, they keep their pick, and it goes to OKC next year as a 2026 unprotected first-round pick. So currently in the 11th spot, which would give the Heat a 9.4% chance to jump inside the top 3 and a 2% chance to earn the #1 overall pick. And then because of the Jimmy Butler trade at the NBA trade deadline where they own the Golden State Warriors 2025 pick, that is top 10 protected. But with how Golden State is playing, they are almost certainly going to be in the postseason, which means you're getting their first-round pick this year, which is 21st overall right now. I am team lose games. I would not even say team tank because guess what, folks? The Heat don't have to try to tank to lose games. If they did try to tank and they sat Bam Adebayo for the final 10 or 15 games of the year, which they're not going to do, but if they did, I think this Heat team would almost guarantee themselves missing the play-in because of how poorly the rest of this team is playing and how poorly they finish games down the stretch. So I do think the Heat will ultimately be in the 9-10 rather than the 7-8. I was on a different mindset a couple weeks ago, but that's also before this team started blowing leads against the Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. So this is where things currently stand right now, and the Heat certainly feel like they will be picking inside the lottery, which in a loaded draft class that has great prospects like Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Kasparas Jakuucionis, Tre Johnson, that may be a good thing, and we'll talk more about that in just a second. But listen, folks, even though the Heat are struggling, we've missed the last couple of games due to NFL free agency. We will still cover the Heat on their off days. We are still going to go live on Wednesday and Friday for games against the Clippers and Celtics. Hit that sub button, join the channel, almost to 20K subscribers. Let's get there ASAP. All right, getting back to the NBA draft. With those two picks, the Heat have a chance to do something really, really special. There is good players in this draft. I have already begun my scouting for the NBA draft. Not only for the Heat, but just in general for the NBA, as I do lead that coverage here at Chat Sports. I have a lot of good things to say about the top. Unless you get the number one pick, there's really no reason to talk about Cooper Flagg. But these other guys, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Kasparas Jakuucionis, these players are interesting to me. If the Heat were able to luck out into the top 3 of this draft, and it's not 1, so it's either 2 or 3, the Heat should probably try to get Dylan Harper. I think Harper's the second best player in this class. True point guard out of Rutgers. Lefty, can get to all spots on the floor, hits a 3, can get to the rim. He is the perfect point guard package, in my opinion, right now. Is he the most explosive athlete, like a Ja Morant, like some of these other guys we've seen come out lately? No, but he just knows how to do it. Son of a former NBA player as well, Ron Harper, so you know he knows what it takes to be an NBA player. Ace Bailey's intriguing because he's got the traits to be an elite scorer in the NBA, but his shot selection, his shot profile is extremely inefficient, as well as you question the frame there, but the talent, the athleticism is out of this world. Jakuucionis, athleticism is a major question, but he is a true natural point guard, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", that I think with NBA spacing will be one of those guys that is an absolute stud in the NBA offensively. Defensive questions will be there, but I really like Jakuucionis. And then VJ Edgecombe, a 2-guard from Baylor, who has been shooting pretty well, above 40% in Big 12 play from beyond the arc. Explosive athlete, could argue the best athlete in this draft class. He is extremely athletic, would like one of those guys. Miami has a good spot and a good chance to get a good young player in this draft. And even if they sit at their pick, 10, 11, you can grab a guy like Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma potentially to be your point guard, as that is a big need for Miami. You can go to the wing. You can grab a Asa Newell. You could grab a Derek Queen if he falls. Come on, Malawatch if he falls as a backup center. Like, there's so many different avenues Miami can go with. Also briefly mentioned Rasheer Fleming from St. Joe's and Cam Jones from Marquette as 2 options I'm looking at with pick 21. Also, LeBaron Philon from Alabama is someone I'm keeping my eye on as well. That is something that is intriguing to me. All right, that will do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed because we're going to break down the Heat in full. Be live again tomorrow for the game against the Clippers, Friday against the Celtics. We'll break down the Miami Heat every single day. It's been a little tough to cover the last couple of days, I know, because of NFL free agency, but hopefully you're sticking with us. Hit that sub button.